Hello everybody, and welcome to this latest video discussion as part of the RICS Tech Partner Program. My name is Andrew Knight and I've been with RICS for over 11 years now. Now I sit within the regulatory standards and thought leadership part of the organisation, and my role is to look at the impact of data and technology right across the built and natural environment. And with over 110,000 members working worldwide, right across the property lifecycle through land, planning, development, construction, valuation, brokerage, building operations, property management. It's a very, very broad canvas upon which data and technology is having a very profound effect. And indeed, our members also work across various asset types, whether it's land itself, residential, commercial, alternative assets and infrastructure. So once again, an incredibly large canvas upon which data and technology is having a really profound effect. And today I'm really glad to have Annika and Alain join me from Wüest Partners. So please do join me on the call.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Alan.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, great to have you on the call. And perhaps before we get into the bits and the bytes on the kind of data and technology you're using, it'd be great to have just a bit of a quick backstory on both of your experience in the industry and indeed on Wüest Partner as an organisation as well.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I make the beginning. So I studied geography here at the Humboldt University in Berlin, and I joined the real estate industry about the research sector and had there my first experience and touch points. And later on, I worked as a valuer as well, and I have now an experience in the real estate industry in Germany for about 15 years and joined Wüest Partner in 2011. So most of the time, about 11 years, I'm working for Wüest Partner, and I'm now here director in the Berlin office of Wüest Partner and in the team of the data analytics and technology, and responsible for our software data and application processes in Germany and to bring us forward here.
Thanks very much. And Alan, yourself, and I say perhaps a bit of a background on Wüest Partners.
Great, thanks a lot, Andrew, for having us here. My name is Alan Janey. I'm on the one hand responsible for our office in Bern, and on the other hand, I'm part of the executive board of the whole business unit in the DACH area. That's where all our services and products in the area of data analytics and technology come together. I'm working at Wüest Partner as a partner and have a background in the finance sector. Before I worked at different banks, then also made a PhD about real estate risks and their assessments. So that's where I had also to deal with a lot of data and analytics and stuff like this. Our company itself, we have around roughly 340 employees that only focus on real estate, but they're almost the whole width and deepness along real estate. We don't own real estate, we don't finance real estate. That's exactly our client base that we can consult, where we have valuation or consulting services, sustainability analysis for them, and a lot of data analytics and technology products and services where we cover the whole real estate industry.
Thanks. Well, the first theme I wanted to kind of pick up with both of you, if I may, is something that we've talked about on a lot of these conversations with our tech partners, which is this combination of the human being still and digital intelligence, data technology, because we're of a strong view that really that combination is key. That combination of human involvement and digital technology is really key. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is really a very important topic, and maybe if I may make a side story on that one. Maybe you know Daniel Kahneman, who won a Nobel Prize with his famous book Thinking Fast and Slow.
Yeah.
And actually, so there's one example where they made some cases with potential thefts, and they had their cases presented towards judges that were very experienced in that area, and they had to roll a dice that was faked. The ones that received a 9 as the final number on the dice, they sent the potential thief for 9 months to jail, and the other ones who had a fake a dice that resulted in a 3 put them for 5 months to jail. So a whole quarter more going to jail because there was just such a stupid figure in the room when they had to answer something. That's the human part, which is an issue with thinking fast and thinking slow. So that's the way how our brain works, and that's not specific to real estate. It's not specific to our law system, but it's just the way how our brain works. And there are specific circumstances where you know that this leads to results like the one before. That was one example that's called in German would be Anker effect. Now, what's the English translation? That's like where you orientate yourself towards, and what can help in the whole real estate industry and also in other industries. If you have a lot of data itself is still useless. That's what we see here on the slide. What is important, but that you have data, but you can combine that to bring out of data information by putting other data together, and then to combine those information to connect them, the different dots, to make out of information knowledge, then add quality and ratings and benchmarks and models to make business insights out of that, and make suggestions on what to do, which at the final phase would be to go into the artificial intelligence, digital assistance, and automatization. That's the rational part where data and technology can help a lot, make better decisions, to screen things that you would not be able to screen because a person itself does not have the capacity, and also to erase such misleading things like the dice where a 3 or a 9 comes out, and where you anchor yourself towards. And so you can eliminate such biases that are a part in our brain through the technology. Yet that's just one part of the story. You need also your capacity, your competencies, your background to really judge the digital information that's being presented by a system, to critically reflect that, to see if that makes sense, or what decisions you really can make out of that, and tend to execute them correctly. So that's why you need both, and even the whole technology will not rationalize or eliminate all the workforces, but they will have more time to spend on the critical questions. I think this is important.
Indeed, and at a kind of high-level perspective, what have Wüest Partners done to sort of bring technology to their clients? I think you mentioned that, you know, as an organization, you don't own real estate yourself, so you're very much working for people who are real estate investors, real estate owners. What sort of things have you done from a technology point of view?
We go a step backwards and have a look on the history of Wüest Partner, because originally it was founded in 35 years ago, and there was a need to have data and collected data and bring transparency to the real estate market. And therefore Wüest Partner started the business and say, okay, we do it, we have it, and we make it for our clients. And after some years, they thought, okay, when we have the data, why don't we use it for our clients? And they create the valuation and consulting business as well. And after some years in working in this field, I like to say, we figured out that there are processes and workflows that comes again and again, and you have to optimize them. You can make it faster and make it much more safer when you have established tools and application. And therefore we created a solution first for ourselves, and then our clients have a look and say, hey, what do you have there? It's looking cool, can we have it as well? And then we've figured out that there's a huge need in the market for good software solution products, which comes from the market for the market. And that was our thinking, like to say. And now all our clients are from all fields, you mentioned it as well, and we can offer a solution for everyone here.
Yeah, I think what's important is that you make that accessible to the industry. I mean, you can have the best models, the best fancy tools or whatsoever, but at the end of the day, they need to be accessible. They need to be intuitively to be applied and available, and not to have like 100 different modules where you don't know how to manage those. I think this is also an important part. You can have the best technology, but the technology needs to be integrated into business processes where you make the decisions. You would like to have the information to make the decision, and not just making and open a different satellite, and then so it needs to be combined at the same place also.
Indeed, and on that basis about making it arguably easy to use, how do you see the level of adoption? You know, is the market embracing this, or are there still barriers, or is there still resistance to using these kind of approaches?
That's a very interesting question. It's not straightforward to answer because it's very, I'd say, heterogeneous. We have we observe with some clients, and that can be small or big clients. That's not. I don't think it's necessarily at things of the size of the client or of the prospect. Some are very very offensive. They are not very optimistic. They want to get touch with new technology, and they see the potential, and maybe also they know that they need to change their businesses. And then there's others that that just are much more skeptical, who first need to say that everything's 120% proof, and they wait for the perfect end, so they will never start, but they lose traction in that way, and the others rush away from them. And there's one obstacle certainly is also there's a lot of interfaces where you need to know how to deal with those, because the industry is often very fragmented. And then you do something in the asset management, someone else does something in the risk management, third one does something in sustainability, and then another one, there comes the accountants who need to judge on different stuff. And actually they work with many satellites, and so that's also it makes it more difficult to really make use of the different technologies that would be available. But if you have those silos and interfaces that you need to bridge, is more challenging. But there are solutions there these days that can address those problems. But I think this is one reason why the adoption is maybe not where it could be, and yet we see many positive signs, and also various very interesting projects with different clients, where there's really a lot of pace, and where we break those interfaces, where we bring all the thing on one platform and make them really the life much more easier, because they have less interfaces. They can make better decisions. They're more faster in transforming data to information and to execute that. I think there is still a huge potential in the market, which is by far not yet realized.
So, who are the kind of clients who are using Wüest Dimensions, and how do they use it? What are they using it for?
As we mentioned before, we have, perhaps I share my screen again, sorry.
Yeah. It's all right.
So I think you can see now my screen again.
Yeah.
And we have a platform thinking here, and we make a toolbox for our clients with the Wüest Dimensions platform. So we have different categories and different modules, and you can make it like a mix and match, yes? And at the first beginning, we talk with our clients, we figure out what their needs are, and so we make a suggestion what modules or topics are interesting for them, what will be helpful for them, and so they can just choose what they need. At the end, it can be everything. On the other hand, if it's the colleague from the research department, he will just need perhaps market and location information, so we can just get this one. And as Alan mentioned before, if you use it all on the platform, you have no, like to say, problems with the interfaces, because you just have your asset once on the platform, and then it can go the way all around. You can make your valuation there, you can have the asset and portfolio management there, everybody can have access, all departments, and so the use is very different, and the clients are very different, and it depends how fast forward they are in the process. If we are still in the beginning, sometimes it's easier for them to begin with small steps. If they are a bit more fast forward, they start with everything, so we can just make it flexible for them. And I think it's a huge advantage of the platform that we make it so modular that it's yeah, it can work with every tool again what the client already had perhaps, yeah, and we can make it work with other solutions as well. So yeah, it works very good. You can see here we have the different topics, and we still work on new things that we figured out with our clients what will be helpful and needful. So we have a release every 3 months about, and the order management is helpful for perhaps you are a big real estate owner and have to do with a lot of internal and external valuers. So you can have all the valuers on the platform. You can send them the job here. I need a valuation. You send the data and the timeline, and then the valuer gets an email, and so it's all automatic and on the platform. And you receive the result and can send it to the asset and portfolio management team. So it's easy for everyone.
In terms of
your question was also.
Sorry, Alan, carry on.
Sorry. I just wanted, I think your question went also in towards what segments of the clients are using that. And Annika has outlined a bit. One important part, certainly, the real estate owners, so pension funds, insurance companies, real estate funds. That's one big part of the client segments. But then we also have corporate real estate, like universities or communities who manage their corporate or public portfolio on the platform, and then also banks that just make valuations for mortgages, where they have cockpits to see how many green bonds, or how many green mortgages they have, or how state loan to value looking like in different areas, and that also reflected with the market evolutions. And the last segment that's using it is also like brokers that partly also use part of those features.
Indeed. Now, I guess my next question is probably going to be quite hard to answer because of the different ways that your clients are using it. But obviously, data and technology is not an end in itself, and it's interesting to kind of probe around the kind of value that it's generating for your clients. Is it about efficiency? Does it effectively just improve processes? But is it also sometimes allowing people to do things they just couldn't do before? That either took so long, or that the data now opens up processes or ways of doing things that just weren't possible before. I guess it is a mix, but I'd be keen to hear the kind of value that the clients are getting from it in that kind of way.
Absolutely, it's like you say, and that's really also interesting that people now make things they were not capable to do before, and sometimes you hear also that different reasons why clients decided for using our platform. But I think one thing is certainly that it's much more comfortable if you don't have like those 20 interfaces, but one platform where you have consistent data, where you can look at the same data from different angles. So the risk department can see on the same thing as does the portfolio manager, as does the asset manager, as does the valuer. So you have consistent data with different angles, where you have different use cases that can be done there, all on the same platform, using the same data of the data of the clients, but that fully enriched with a lot of market data and intelligence from the market, where the traditional way they would not have the competencies. For example, if they need to define like the property strategy for the next year, you have a portfolio of 100 properties, and these days you have a feeling of the market, you look at some KPIs in the market, you have a feeling of what's going on your own assets. And you look at a few KPIs, and then you make your decision on the strategy of that specific property. That's what you usually do these days. But what's capable with such platforms is that you really can monitor the whole market along various KPIs, because the system does so for you. So they see small changes over the year also, and which you as a person would not really realize. But after 3 or 4 years, the change is significant enough that maybe a different strategy would add more value, and the system in the background can calculate those figures and calculates all the various potential strategies, which one may be suited best for that asset in that specific market. And that's a whole automatization which combines, again, the digital information, brings that in the platform, makes the calculation, brings you more intelligence, and makes checks that you would not do because you would not have the capacity. But you have like a digital assistant who does all that work for you, and then you can judge like, okay, does that make sense? Does the proposition of my assistant sounds sound, or is that weird? Do I have a different gut feeling? And align that and make the correct conclusion. So you're much more efficient. You have lower operational risks because again, you have consistent data. It's not just done something in my Excel and you do it different in your Excel, and then there's a formula in my Excel or whatsoever. So it's efficiencies, it's processes that are more streamlined, and you can do simply just more things. So you can reduce your costs, you can increase your rents or your value of your assets, and so it's along different areas where it adds value.
Indeed. And Annika, perhaps if I could ask you, what kind of insights and observations have you discovered when you've been working with clients? Because it's always fascinating when you actually work with a client and see how they're using a product and a solution, and perhaps doing things that you hadn't imagined they would want to do, or have used it to solve problems that perhaps you hadn't thought it could be used for.
Yeah, it's always our workflow. I like to say that we have our solution, we have the structure and the idea, and but we always in the discussion with our clients what they need, what they are looking for. And I think digitalization, it's so common, and everybody has ideas and want to have something, and we can do and try this again, and what do you think about this? And so it's very necessary and helpful for us to have the experience on both sides, on the market side and working with the tools, as well as the technical side, because you have to think about what is really helpful and what brings you forward, or what is too time expensive, because time is everything, right? We need to come fast forward. We need to have our processes done and our data available, especially for the ESG and sustainability topics. So you have to focus on some necessary points, and therefore the discussion with our clients is very interesting and helpful for us and for them as well, because sometimes they need the structure, what is possible, and what does it for time takes to make some adjustments, and that you will think about it. And yeah, you can, I think that's the difficult, because when you have evaluation, you have a start date, and you have the documentation and the dates, and you have a finish line, and then it's over. But in digitalization process, it's always, you start somewhere, you have an idea where you want to go, but along the way you have so many circumstances you never thought at the beginning about. So you have to focus on what's very necessary, and therefore our clients are very thankful that we are helpful here as well for them to not get lost in the possibilities.
No, I'm very lucky to have you sitting in literally in different countries as we chat. And one thing I'd be interested to hear from, perhaps starting with you, Alan, is a bit of a perspective on the Swiss versus the German markets, because clearly, even at regional levels, you get differences and different market behaviours. How would you characterise the similarities and the differences between the way the real estate markets perform and behave in both countries?
Well, I think that the market itself is already different, because there are different regulations, but both markets have a long history of booming markets. And maybe I would say, but maybe you can elaborate that a bit more details on it, because maybe I would say Switzerland is maybe a bit more pragmatic in applying solutions for going into digitalization.
Yeah, I think I know a lot of discussion at the moment in Germany about the process of digitalization of the real estate industry. And I think there are a lot of good ideas, a lot of yeah, they want to do it, but we are still at the beginning. I think there is a lot, we have a lot of possibilities in comparison to Switzerland. I don't know if it's just a feeling from me and to have a look from the outside to Switzerland, but I think they are a bit, yeah, later on with the digitalization process. And in Germany, we are still starting on the starting point.
So if I could almost ask the next question for both, jurisdictions, both countries, where do you see the industry going, both in Switzerland and Germany, given that they're clearly a different part of their journey?
I think that the industry is kind of in a, I mean, there was, like we all know, that with the low interest rates, a lot of money available, so there were a lot of efforts taking to start new ideas, to realize them with different prop techs and startups. And I think that we're kind of in a consolidation phase now, where it's not just like all money just can be burned, because money is going to start to be valuable again. And then there's on top is like the inflation, there's the pressure on the costs, and so that also leads to for our clients to make it more important that they are efficient, they are productive, so they need to increase that. And that along with the same pressure to have more transparency on ESGs, on how they govern with the data and how they deal with the whole sustainability topics. Plus, there's like the risk management that becomes much more important, because as you see, different scenario, different inflations, our interest going up, it's going to have a huge impact on the market. As it becomes more important to also make business plans, forecasts, simulations. And I think these are things that are actually good for the market, because it pays more attention also to make the market more less volatile and more reliable, because you're better prepared for different scenarios for the future, which is certainly not a bad thing, and to make it more sustainable also. And that again makes it maybe that's like, from that perspective, it's never been a better time to make now use out of the technology and data that is available there, because that's exactly where solutions are available that help you really navigate properly through those more challenging times that are ahead now, through the combination of the digital and human intelligence. So
Indeed. And I guess for you, Annika, in the German market, given that there is perhaps a bigger gap in terms of digitalization, that would seem even more important for the German market to digitize now?
Yes, of course. Because on the one hand, we see that everybody is in a waiting position now. Everybody market participant, and nobody wants to sell it too cheap, and nobody wants to buy it too expensive. So everyone is a bit, what will happen next? And then the big question about ESG and sustainability, how will this be impact the market values of the real estate? And also you have the pressure to make a statement how sustainable your real estates are. You just can do it if you have data and the information, and we see it all on the clients, and nearly daily we get calls. So if we can help them to make a sustainability strategy and to find out how do they get the data first of all. And because of this, I think the digitalization get a huge push to go on here, because they all have to do something and they all have to say something about it. And before it was, they can do it and it's nice, like Ellen said, you get a lot of advantages about you are faster and you are safer and you have more insights, but it was sometimes nice to have. But in ESG kind of things, it's you must, you need to, you have to, and you have to say something. And I think that will bring the digitalization more and more to Germany. And we have a lot of good examples with good companies. We are very fast in the digitalization process, but we are a huge market and there are so many possibilities.
Good to hear. Well, I guess my final question, and without you giving away your secrets, what sort of things are you working on now in terms of development?
Oh, sorry, we can't say anything. No. Yeah, I think ESG is one of our big topics to provide more data to make ESG ratings. For Switzerland, we are nearly finished with our work. In Germany and France, we begin because we have the 3 home markets where we want to provide data for our clients. And then there is, yeah, a lot of other stuff. Alan, perhaps you say something about the investment perspective. Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, we still have a huge backlog in terms of projects and things that we want to bring, and that's in the pipeline. We invest a significant amount of our turnover into adding more, not just data, but to make more use of the data and to make also more integrated use cases where you have apps. That's one of the ones where we had award-winning results already with the where you can digitalize the whole property, and then that's just I mean that's we've done, but that's just the starting point, because when you have that you have the pictures, okay, that's like with the picture automatization or recognition, it's a kitchen, but when it's a kitchen, next step is like, how good is that kitchen, how does it add to the value? And so I mean there's still a lot of potential and make much more use of the availability, but first you need to collect the data, make those available, integrated, and then like also the alignment between capex planning, CO2 emissions, and pause, how you can reduce that. Then I mean those are features that are available today, but now you can optimize those because it's trade-offs. Either you make it on a financial perspective or on a technical perspective, or from the sustainability, and they're not aligned. So, but there are automatization processes where you also can automate and optimize those different trade-offs. And I think what is important there is that solutions that are on the market, that they are modular. So we work on that everything can be. It's not that you should customize things, because you need to invest so much and keep pace. You can't do that if you make all customized solutions. So you need to combine those things but when you do so, you need also to pay a lot of attention that it's modular, because not everyone has the same problems he wants to solve. And that's like also some things more on the foundation area, where we're also spending a lot of money to make sure that you can plug and play with this or that module, and to make best use of all the available data. So we've done a lot already, but we still have so many ideas. Of course, we can't tell you all this, but maybe you can speak another time in 1 or 2 years to tell you what we've done.
Indeed. 320 experts, and everyone has a good idea. So backlog is full.
Well, it's been fascinating to talk, and thanks ever so much for your time today. And obviously, data is so key to the real estate industry, isn't it, in terms of the kind of societal outcomes, as well as managing it as an asset. With the focus now so much on ESG, it's important that real estate plays its part in terms of emissions control and those kind of social outcomes. But for today, Alain, Annika, thanks ever so much for your time. I look forward to catching up again in the future.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.